This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. After a string of extreme abortion measures in multiple states, one state is pushing back with a sweeping pro-life bill to restrict abortion. Our Mark Martin is following this story and joins us now from the CBN newsroom with more. Mark?
From the Missouri House on Wednesday moved in the direction of banning most abortions in the state if the United States Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade. The wide-ranging measure is House Bill 126, also known as the Missouri Stands for the Unborn Act. The bill states that it is the intent of the General Assembly of the state of Missouri to defend the right to life of all humans, born and unborn. It also states that Missouri and any political subdivision in the state are a sanctuary of life that protects pregnant women and their unborn children. In addition, the measure states that this bill specifies that if there isn't any change in federal law or court decisions that allow it, it is the intent of the state of Missouri that abortion shall not be permitted in the state under any circumstances. It goes on to say that if a total ban is not possible, abortion shall be limited to women who are less than 8 weeks gestational age with a required fetal heartbeat or brain function test. Exceptions for abortion only include medical emergencies. In some cases, doctors who violate the law, if passed, would face a felony charge. Missouri's House Bill 126 also bans selective abortions because of sex, race, or a diagnosis or potential diagnosis of Down syndrome. In addition, it requires minors to have the consent of one parent, and a doctor must make a reasonable effort to notify the other custodial parent before performing an abortion. Republican Representative Sonia Anderson said, "I am proud that Missouri, the show me state, is showing the rest of the country that we will stick up for the unborn, those precious little children that have no one else to speak for them." But abortion supporters say the bill is extreme. It now heads to the Republican-led Senate. The Associated Press reports that Democratic Senator Jill Shupp says there will be strong resistance to the bill. And Ephraim, the bill's sponsor, Republican Representative Nick Schroer, called the measure the most sound, comprehensive pro-life bill in the entire U.S. CBN News reached out to Schroer for comment, and at the time of this broadcast, he had not yet responded to our inquiry. Back to you, Ephraim.
All right, Mark, thank you. Jenna Ellis is a constitutional attorney and joins us now to talk more about this. So, Jenna, what are your thoughts on the bill?
I think it's fantastic. And for Missouri to step up and say that this is the most comprehensive protection of life and to make such a strong pro-life statement in the midst of all of the national controversy, it should encourage most Christians and certainly conservatives. And I think that states are becoming stronger in their voice because they really genuinely see that a conservative majority is on the Supreme Court, and Roe versus Wade, its time is up in the nation. So we should all be very, very encouraged. And I think other states should follow and should have total abortion bans.
So now this passed the state house, but it still has to go through the Senate. Do you think it's going to pass?
Well, so the Missouri Senate has a Republican-led majority of 24-10, and the governor has also indicated that he's likely to sign the bill. So this should pass, and I hope that it does. And this would be a truly novel bill that may make its way up if there are legal challenges to the Supreme Court that could have a very real opportunity to overturn Roe versus Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey. So the Supreme Court is selective on which cases they take, but because there is a conservative majority, they can look at challenges to bills such as this as a great opportunity to make that case and to make sure that Roe versus Wade is overturned.
Is there any other impact this bill could have larger than just Missouri?
I think that it can have an impact on other states, and certainly as we're seeing that Republican-led states are driving the pro-life effort, I think that should encourage the grassroots, the voters, you and I, in every state, to make sure that we're voting for legislators who are willing to implement this kind of bill on the state level so that we can make sure to protect life at every state at every stage. And so while Missouri is leading this effort, we also see that there are heartbeat bills in other states. And so for the states that may be a little bit on the line of not really sure what they can do constitutionally, I think that measures like this will really inform states that you can stand up strong for pro-life.
Could you highlight some of the other states where similar measures are possibly coming?
Yeah, so Ohio is looking at passing the heartbeat bill. There are a number of other states that have heartbeat bills, and unfortunately, there are a number of liberal states, Colorado included, that are trying to pass even more. New York, Virginia, that are trying to pass more extreme abortion protection. So we're seeing a diversity among the states, and I think that that's why the challenge will be brought to the federal level, and we have to make sure that there are conservative Christians in every state that make sure to go down to their state legislators and make sure that pro-life protections are passed.
Before we let you go, can you highlight exactly why we're seeing all this back and forth on these bills state to state right now?
I think the answer to that genuinely is President Trump and the reformation of the federal judiciary. We see that not only on the Supreme Court with now Justice Brett Kavanaugh, who is on the court, and we're seeing that conservative majority of 5-4 and hopefully even more throughout the tenure of President Trump and then hopefully a re-election in 2020. But then also the federal judiciary, even on the circuit court level. This is a truly dynamic change, and because we don't have an activist federal judiciary anymore, we understand that the Constitution's obligation for the federal government is to preserve and protect the rights that are given to every human being made in the image of God, and the first and foremost fundamental right is to life. And the fact that our federal judiciary is recognizing that and has a strong possibility of doing that at the Supreme Court level, I think that everyone who voted for President Trump can be very proud of this.
Constitutional attorney Jenna Ellis, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
President Donald Trump's former attorney is back on Capitol Hill today after blasting him before Congress Wednesday. Michael Cohen said he had no evidence the president colluded with Russia to win the 2016 election, but he accused the commander-in-chief of criminal conduct while in office. He shared a copy of a check from President Trump and said it was reimbursement for hush money paid to porn star Stormy Daniels. Cohen has pleaded guilty to breaking campaign finance laws and lying to Congress. He begins his 3-year prison sentence in May and says he is speaking out now to set the record straight and to atone for some of his mistakes.
I am sorry for my lies and for lying to Congress and to our nation. I am sorry for actively working to hide from you the truth about Mr. Trump when you needed it most. For those who question my motives for being here today, I understand. I have lied, but I am not a liar. And I have done bad things, but I am not a bad man. I have fixed things, but I am no longer your fixer, Mr. Trump. And I am going to prison and have shattered the safety and security that I tried so hard to provide for my family.
Today's meetings are not public. Cohen also called the president a racist and a con man. On Faith Nation, CBN's chief political analyst David Brody said Cohen's remarks contradict emails and phone calls he's received from Cohen over the years. President Trump returns to the United States without a deal from his second summit with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. Political observers say the two leaders appeared to be close to a denuclearization agreement, but plans fell through at the last minute. The president told reporters talks were cut short because Kim wanted sanctions lifted.
It was about the sanctions.
Will there be a third summit, Mr. President?
Basically, they wanted the sanctions lifted in their entirety, and we couldn't do that.
Now, here's a rare moment from that meeting in Hanoi. Jong-un interacted with American reporters who shouted questions. He was asked if he was ready to denuclearize, and he responded, "If I'm not willing to do that, I wouldn't be here right now." Tonight on CBN's Faith Nation, we're going to take a closer look at the summit in Hanoi, and we're going to preview how conservatives will rally at this year's CPAC, looking to win in 2020. CPAC is the annual Conservative Political Action Conference, and you can see all these stories and more on Faith Nation. That is tonight on the CBN News Channel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defended himself today after an announcement by Israel's Attorney General to indict him on charges of bribery and breach of trust. The charges put Netanyahu's political future in doubt. Chris Mitchell brings us the story now from Jerusalem.
It's expected Israel's Attorney General Avichai Mandelblit will announce he'll indict Netanyahu in 3 ongoing investigations. In the most serious case, Netanyahu is suspected of firing Israel's communications ministry director in exchange for favorable coverage in one of Israel's top news sites. Some believe the potential charges are frivolous and dangerous. Before Mandelblatt's announcement, well-known American lawyer Alan Dershowitz wrote an open letter to the Attorney General and warned to bring down a duly elected prime minister on the basis of an expansive and unprecedented application of a broad and expandable criminal statute endangers democracy. The indictments would be subject to a hearing where Netanyahu can defend himself, a process that could take up to a year. Netanyahu called the potential charges absurd and said the House of Cards will come crashing down soon. The indictments also threaten Netanyahu's political future. The current polls are so close that even if Netanyahu's Likud party lost a few seats, it could turn the tide of the upcoming elections. The elections will be held on April 9th. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Thank you, Chris. A programming note for you now. We want to also remind you can check out our Daily Rundown podcast with Caitlin Burke. You can find it at cbnnews.com on the Show tab. Simply click on the title to listen and to subscribe. Coming up, the Supreme Court hears a case against the World War I Memorial Cross. As we wait for the court's ruling, we're exploring its implications for religious symbols across America. Stay with us.
CBN presents The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
We're going to talk about some of the incredible promises God has made to His children.
In Pat Robertson's newest teaching, you'll discover the I Wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation, and see amazing stories of God's promises in action.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Break free from stress and despair.
The Lord doesn't want you to live in fear, but to know the rewards given to those who love God.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit cbn.com. The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. My husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphans Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
A Supreme Court ruling could decide the future of religious symbols across the country. This week, justices heard arguments in the case of a cross on government land in Maryland. Paul Strand explores whether justices will act on that one case alone or issue a broader decision.
Instead, it has been perverted into the idea that religious liberty is the liberty to impose your beliefs on others.
The fight at the Supreme Court was supposedly over one cross dominating a World War I memorial in Bladensburg, Maryland since 1925. But lawyers urged the justices use this opportunity to come up with a simpler, clearer way to decide these cases involving government and religious displays, symbols, or actions. For decades, the courts applied a so-called lemon test. It's a murky, three-pronged standard from a 1971 opinion which states the action must have a mostly secular purpose, its primary effect must neither advance or inhibit religion, and it must not foster excessive government entanglement with religion. Well, this has led to things like one day in 2005 when the court said that the Texas state capitol could display the Ten Commandments, but a Kentucky courthouse could not. In another case, they said that a city in Rhode Island could have a nativity scene, but a Pennsylvania county, well, it could have a menorah and a Christmas tree, but not a nativity scene.
It's very difficult for lower court judges to make decisions because the Supreme Court has not been clear on what the standard is.
Defenders of the Peace Cross argued for a new standard, coercion. Does the government action coerce belief in religion? They say that's what the Founding Fathers wanted.
It wasn't to sort of engage in some sort of religious cleansing of religious monuments across our country. The founders would be appalled at that concept. It was they didn't want there to be an established national church, and they didn't want the government coercing people with regard to their religion.
Those who originally brought the case say the cross upsets them and is clearly a harmful entanglement of Christianity and government.
We humanists have always said that when you mix church and state, what you do is damaging both.
Defenders contend the cross simply acts as a grave marker honoring World War I soldiers' sacrifice. Not so, say the opponents.
This is predominantly a religious symbol. In fact, this is a memorial to Christianity.
Shackelford argues these outraged or hurt feelings should not be reason enough to threaten the memorial.
All of us in America are offended by some things. We don't tear things down because somebody's offended.
The Liberty Council's Matt Staver believes the cross will stand.
I can't see the court overruling and causing a 93-year-old cross to be destroyed.
But the original atheist and secularist plaintiffs felt confident as well.
By the way the justices were asking really pointed questions, particularly of the other side, and weren't really buying a lot of the other side's arguments.
So it appears both sides came out of the court feeling very good that their side's going to win this case, which probably means the justices are going to have a tough time deciding it. Paul Strand, CBN News, the Supreme Court.
A viral video shows a conservative student being assaulted at the University of California, Berkeley. Campus police are now looking to score an arrest in this case. Hayden Williams is the student who was assaulted. He's still recovering. Williams says he and other students were carrying signs critical of the Jussie Smollett case, calling it a hate crime hoax. He calls his attack leftist violence against the free speech of conservatives.
This time it was me. Tomorrow it could be you or your kids or your grandkids. So, this is a real problem that we need to address as a country.
A $50,000 reward is being offered for information leading to an arrest in this case. Now you can hear more from Hayden Williams on the Global Lane. That is tonight at 9:30 Eastern on the CBN News Channel. Coming up, what the NFL is doing ahead of the 2019 season and how they hope changes to helmets could better help protect the players.
Parents, the Superbook Bible app is a great way to get your child reading the Bible because in today's busy world, we can use some help. The free Superbook Bible app has fun stuff your kids will love. They'll have a blast learning the Bible, playing great games, watching cool videos, discovering heroes in the Bible. They'll have fun while they learn God's Word. The Superbook Kids Bible app, available now.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Discover the I wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com. The I wills of God, the latest teaching from Pat Robertson.
The NFL 2019 Combine is underway. It is a week-long showcase for college students to show NFL teams their skills ahead of the draft. Helmet safety and concern over concussion is a big topic this year and something the league is taking seriously. And Sean Brown joins us right now with more. So how cool is it the NFL allows you to get up close and personal to see what they're doing for the safety of the players?
I mean, it is phenomenal. First of all, let me just say thank you to Jennifer Langton, Dr. Crandall, Liz Beadle, Jill Pike. They allowed me to come into their world and see all that they're doing to ensure the health and safety of the players. And it was just phenomenal to go to visit both New York at the NFL headquarters and then Charlottesville, Virginia, where University of Virginia is, where Dr. Crandall is. Got to see both facilities and just fantastic things that they're doing that I'm not sure that a lot of people really know about.
No, not indeed.
So that was awesome.
Yeah. One of the things that is cool that I didn't know is that players are actually able to choose the helmet they wear.
I did not know that either. I thought all the players on the field wore the same helmet.
Yeah, me too.
But apparently they can choose which helmet they wear as long as they're on that list of, in the piece you saw there's a list of approved helmets by the NFL. There's a list of prohibited helmets. So as long as it's on the above the line helmets, they're clear to choose whichever helmet they want by style, fit, brand, whatever they're comfortable with. It's their choice as long as it's one of those helmets that's been approved by the NFL. I always thought everybody was wearing the same helmet, but apparently not. They get to choose. And I can't imagine the linebacker is going to wear the same helmet, or an offensive lineman is wearing the same helmet as a wide receiver.
Yeah, it does make sense.
So, yes, they get to choose their helmet, and that's actually pretty awesome.
Now, you said that no helmet exists, of course, that can prevent a concussion. So how else can they reduce the concussion number that was 291 in 2017?
Yes, and that's from preseason to postseason. Wow. That's a lot. But there's good news. But first, all of the approved helmets on the list in the locker room, that's the first thing. It's saying, testing the helmets and saying, hey, these are the ones that are approved. While no helmet may prevent a concussion, a lot of the helmets can reduce the injury severity. Okay. And so all the helmets that have been approved can help to prevent concussion. It's going to take a little bit of adjusting of how the players play. If a guy is out there by himself and he catches a pass, and you can make a solid tackle without using your head, why not do that? It protects the person laying the wood or putting the hit on the person, on the player, and the person receiving the hit. And so why not do that? And so that's one of the things. They talk about behavioral changes in the players, and a lot of the players are beginning to adapt that. Now, for years, since these guys were kids, it was like destroy, go hard, and you embrace the hit. But now, with concussions on the rise and injuries on the rise, an adjustment has to be made, and you can still have solid contact, just leave the head out of the game. And I think that's also one of their pushes.
All right. Now, is there, when it comes to 2019 season, is there some new technological developments on the horizon?
Yes. They have a new mouth guard that will have sensors in it, because when you embrace a hit, a lot of times you tighten up, not just with your body, but also with your mouth. And so they'll have a mouthpiece with sensors that also give more data, so they'll have more information about how concussions happen and then how to prevent them in the future. That's coming out, I believe they're rolling that out this season for the 2019 season, but I'll do a separate piece on that. That'll be coming up shortly. The good news is that there was a decrease in concussions by 29% this year. They're down to about 214, and that's just from preseason 2018 to the regular season. I don't know if they have the postseason numbers yet, but that's 67 concussions less than 2017. So they're on the right path. I'm really excited about that.
Before we let you go, what do you think is driving this? I mean, is it trying to save the game of football? Why are we seeing all this new stuff unfold now?
Ephraim, that's a great question. The NFL was a $9 billion organization. It is a business, but at the same time, your biggest asset, it's the players. Yeah. And so while, yes, they want to save, they want the game to have longevity, if your best asset is the players, then you want to make sure that they can play as long as they want to play. And being there, visiting them, listening to their tone, and just what the overall objective is of keeping the players healthy, that's my sense. I think, keeping the player for one owner, keeping the player on the field does better, on the bottom line than them off the field. But again, if you're taking care of the players, that saves the game. And I think they're looking long term. That's what's at the heart of this, is making sure that the biggest asset, they can play as long as they want to play and retire when they want to retire.
Absolutely.
And have a long life afterwards. And have a long life afterwards.
Healthy.
Healthy. Yes.
We applaud every effort. Thank you so much. Great reporting.
Thank you so much for having me.
After the break, singer and songwriter Lauren Daigle hits the stage to perform her Grammy Award-winning hits.
When you give, smiles grow bigger. When you care, homes are happier. When you comfort, the hurt goes away. When we all come together to love, miracles happen.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. My husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphans Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes and Google Play now. Has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
After scoring 2 Grammy Awards, Lauren Daigle graces the late night stage this week. She performed 2 songs from her Christian contemporary album, Look Up Child, on Tuesday's Jimmy Kimmel Live. In a recent Christian Post article, Daigle says she is remaining true to her call of going outside the walls of the church to share the gospel. I believe indeed. Now remember, you can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about always at cbnnews.com. And you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.